Pretty nice. Amazing, 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 amazing. There's this YouTube channel I watch, and this couple goes to like Japan a lot. And I've talked about this before. This girl is really into these gacha games. And it's like you put a coin in the machine, you turn the little knob, and a little capsule comes out, and you open it, and you get like a little keychain. The keychains can be of various items. It's like miniature versions of everyday items. Literally anything. You can get a miniature car, you can get a miniature bottle of deodorant, a miniature bottle of like some popular snack, a miniature version of some popular snack, a miniature version, and people collect them and use them as keychains. People collect them a lot. And it seems like gambling because you put the coin in and turn it on, and because each machine has its own like category of items that it can give you, right? And it's like in a gacha store, there'll be hundreds of these machines, hundreds, multiple floors even. These machines, the pack, people just put in coins and turn to see what they get. And I'm like, how is this is just gambling? Because they even have catalogs. And it's like, okay, I have this one, I have this one, I have this one. I need to get this one to complete my collection. It's like one machine will have a collection of items, right? So let's say you want a gacha for all the, like, you get all the miniature versions of the PlayStations. So the PlayStation 1 to the PlayStation 5. And maybe they even include the PSPs in that. So you put your coin in the machine and you turn the knob and you get one, and then you put your coin in again and you turn it, hopefully you get another one until you complete the whole set. You have these keychains. It's cute. Like, it was cute the first time, but then I started watching multiple videos. I'm like, oh, this is the thing. This is the thing. Like, she's clearly like really, really into this. Like, I got really into this. I'm like, I don't know. It's cheap, so it's like, you know, like. It's just the concept, because I'm like, how is this not gambling? You know what I'm saying? How is this not gambling? It seems like gambling to me. Because I'm sure that she gets like an adrenaline rush out of getting the right item. Because she gets so excited when she gets the item that she wanted and she completes the set. Like, at least, I don't know, it seems like gambling to me. Luckily, it's not like better thing to do. But yeah, it's not my business. I'm just making an observation. This is gambling. This is just straight up gambling. So many people do it. This is a gacha channel because, you know, I was watching for the. Because that's not fair. It's not, whenever her and her husband actually married. Just a lot of the videos. One thing they were in like Canada and other Asian countries. But whenever they're in that, you know that they're gonna stop by one of these gambling dens. It's a gambling den, dude. Even when they have a channel giveaway, they're giving away gachas. It's like, oh, who wants gacha? Like, do people actually want it? Do you actually look forward to giving out? Maybe. I don't know what I'll do though. It's gonna take up space in my house. What do I do with them? People are into some interesting things. Anywho, last night I was playing Siphon Filter because I upgraded my PlayStation Plus subscription. You get access to this classic catalog, so like old games from the PS1 era, PS2 era, PS3 era, so on and so forth. So Siphon Filter was an OG PS1 game. Came out in 1999. When did the PS1 come out? 3rd of December 1994. Damn. 1994. It's crazy, man. 3rd of December. It's almost 1995. I was born in 2000. I grew up playing PS1 games, but the PS1 was high-key before my time, obviously just till 1994. So by the time I was born, it had already been out for 5 years, so it was nearing the end of its life cycle. You could say it was like halfway through its life cycle. But the thing is, I had a cousin who's older than me, and he, obviously the PS1 was his era, and he was super into that, and he played a lot of PS1 games, and he introduced me to a lot of classic PS1 games, like the Metal Gear Solid, oh gosh, the OG. He was super into Final Fantasy VII, which was also on the PS1. Because we have the Final Fantasy VII remake that's everyone's crazy about now, but the OG was Final Fantasy VII on the PS1. And it had the fat case, because you know, it had a humongous case, and it had 2 discs. I remember whenever I'd go to his place, I'd see the Final Fantasy VII game there. I wasn't really into it because it was turn-based, and I was immediately drawn to Metal Gear Solid, which is an action game, and it was really the first game. Maybe he was a genius, because he really architected this idea of cinematic gameplay. He was like the best at it. Let me put it that way, because people always say, "Oh, this person did it. This person did it." This game, Metal Gear Solid was the best example of it. It was really the game that really everyone kind of was like, "Oh, that's the era of learning." It was like really the first real stuff. This game that came out before. Well, no, actually, before Metal Gear Solid, there was Metal Gear. No, Metal Gear Solid was the first. Because Metal Gear, I guess you can call Metal Gear, because can you? Was sneaking around? It's one of the two. But he also pioneered the stealth genre, because before then stealth wasn't a really a serious mechanic in these games. Some people say like, there's some other game I forgot that people like to point to as the first real stealth game, but it's like no one did that. No one had heard of that game, and even Hideo himself will tell you that I don't think he would claim that game inspired Metal Gear. I think he was genuinely thinking about a game about a soldier who's sneaking into military bases and all these sort of things. And that just hadn't been done before, because the other game people had to point to, it was like, I don't remember the premise of the game, but it wasn't really like an espionage game where you're sneaking around and infiltrating and stuff like that. Metal Gear was the first, and it brought forth the Splinter Cells and games of that genre from that point onward. I digress. that was what I was into. Like the best cutscenes, the voice acting was crazy. It felt like a movie, dude, and it played amazing. It was one of the best boss battles in video game history. If you know the Psycho Mantis boss battle, crazy, crazy. That boss battle, because he was this psychic who could read your mind. So whenever you try to shoot at him, he always knew which way. And it was very scary because as a kid, you're like, how's this guy doing this? And he was saying that he was breaking the third wall, saying like, I can read your moves, player. And it was kind of scary that. And he did this thing because the PS1, I think it innovated the vibration function in game controllers, the first DualShock controller. So it was like this. It was this new thing. Let's actually do that. Did the DualShock innovate vibrations? No, so I think they say it's the N64 Rumble Pack was the first. It was an add-on. I don't think the first DualShock had vibration, but another one came out on the PS. Oh, I remember. Like, I think there were two versions of the PS1 controller, if I'm not mistaken. One had analogs, one didn't. Anyway, one had vibrations because I'm reading here that one didn't have vibrations. But basically, what Psycho Mantis would do is he would he would ask you to put your controller on the floor on a flat surface, and then he would like start swaying his hands, and because of the vibration function, the controller would move left and move right. So it looked like he was controlling your controller from inside the game. And as a kid, because you're stupid, you're like, oh my god, what is this? It's kind of creepy. You knew it's like a game, but at the same time, like maybe we don't out here for real. It was very scary, and you couldn't kill him. But then, in the game, you could call people and stuff. Like you could call your colonel and you'd give your advice and stuff. So he tells you that you need to change controller ports. Like they literally tell you this in the game, straight up breaking the third wall. You need to change controller ports. But he's talking to the characters if the character is playing the game. And then we found out like you literally, because the controllers are wired, controllers are cables back then, they're not wireless. You remove the cable from port 1 and you put it into port 2. So now he's reading port 1, the Psycho Mantis guy. He's reading port 1, and now your controller isn't inserted in port 1. So he's like, wait, I can't read your moves anymore. And then when you start shooting at him, now your bullets start hitting him. It was cool, man. He was like, oh, I got you now. Got you now, bitch. It was so cool. And you kill him, and his death scene was also like sad because he starts telling you his whole life story. Terrible things he had to go through with what he ends up sympathizing with him, or empathizing with him. It was cool, man. It looked great, kid. The Sniper Wolf boss fight, this chick called Sniper Wolf that you have a boss fight with. That boss fight was legendary. And you'd be like, because it was a sniper boss battle, so you're shooting each other with sniper rifles, and it was so cool because you'd have weapons sway, like you're trying to shoot it through the scope, but the scope keeps moving, so you could either smoke cigarettes to calm your character down. His name is Snake, if you want to calm Snake down, you smoke a cigarette, but that depletes your life. And in a boss battle, you don't want something that depletes your life. So what you could do, it was more like a secret, but there was an area you could go where you could find this drug that if you take it, it just it momentarily steadies your aim. So your scope isn't doing this while you're trying to shoot. And it was very realistic because, in real life, in intense scenarios, even just generally, you probably won't be moving around a lot. Your aim isn't going to be super. It's very realistic, especially in stressful situations like that when someone's trying to kill you. Your hands probably going to be shaking a little bit. So you can either smoke a cigarette or you could take a drug. And the other cool things as well, like if you want to, there'll be areas you could sneak through that had laser sensors. So if you walk through the sensors, it triggers an alarm and you're going to be in trouble. So what you could do is smoke a cigarette and then blow the smoke and it reveals the lasers. And then you know which areas to crawl through, walk through, like you could shimmy against walls and stuff. It was really cool. It was a PS1 game, but it was ahead of its time. It was really ahead of its time. It holds up pretty nicely today. Like obviously the graphics are terrible, but if you just play it, it's really intuitive and it's not like other games from its era where they were very. I mean, it probably does have some dated functions and whatnot, but other games from that era were very clunky and unrefined, whereas Metal Gear was just really well put together. It was ahead of its time. It was shocking, freaking, but that was my speed. That was what I was into. So Final Fantasy VII for me was turn-based and all that sort of stuff. There wasn't really voice acting. You had to read the text on the screen. So I wasn't a fan of all that. I was like, man. Now that the remake is out, the last time I actually started playing the remake again. The last time I played it was in 2022, which is crazy. I just loaded up my save file. I transferred my save file from my PS4. That was a mission, guys. I had to, because I tried to upload my save file. So I took my PS4, turned it on, which was its own mission, by the way, because my PS4 is packed up. So I had to unpack it, turn it on those things, and then upload my Final Fantasy VII Remake save file onto the cloud so I could download it on my PS5, only for the PS5 version to say, nah, that's not gonna work, buddy. You need to download the PS4 version on the PS5 and then transfer the save file that way. I'm like, what? This makes no sense. I mean, I'm sure there's an explanation for it, but it seems so silly. And I think that's the case for all these games. You have to download the PS4 version on the console. You can't transfer from. You can't just upload your save file to the cloud and then download it on the other device. I don't know why. It seems like that should be a thing, but it's not a thing. But yeah, so I did things. And then I realized the last time I played this game was in 2022. It doesn't even feel that long ago, but it was in 2022. Ages ago. Just crazy to think about. And, it's alright for me. A lot of people like it, love it even. I think it's fun. I think it has its moments, but for the most part, I'm like, yeah. We'll see if I finish it. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is like 1,500 rand, which is $80. $80, guys, for a game. You lost your damn mind. It's been out for like a year at this point. Drop the price. It's not even been on special, I don't think. It hasn't even been on special. Drop the price. Put it on the PS Plus subscription or something. Because this is ridiculous. But $80 for a game? Are you mad? Are you smoking? Anything. I'm playing Siphon Filter right now. I'm learning. I think the old school game design, there are a lot of flaws from back in the day, just in terms of how games were being designed, even like storytelling in games. And this is another reason Metal Gear was ahead of its time. The storytelling was really refined. Like the cutscenes were well paced, well edited. It was like a movie. You contrast that with Siphon Filter, where like these weird cuts and everything just moves very rapidly and you're not entirely sure what's going on. I mean, you can follow the story, but it's just, you can see, yeah, this wasn't very professional compared to like what we have these days. Whereas Metal Gear, it was ahead of its time, man. Top tier. The voice acting was crazy. The cinematics were crazy. Just in terms of how they were shot, how they were edited, the pacing, the consistency of the storytelling. Ahead of its time. Just play that. Like compare that. You can even watch it on YouTube. You can watch clips. Compare games from that era to Metal Gear, and you'll see that definitely ahead of its time. And then Metal Gear 2 came out, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, which is highly regarded. Where the hell is the remake? People announced it and no one's heard from the team. It was supposed to come out last year, it didn't come out. So that's a bit concerning. We'll see. People like what they've been seeing so far. So I'm hoping that they just deliver what they've been showing us. If they just do that, I think people will be very happy. But yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. Metal Gear 3 is a beloved game, man. Metal Gear Solid 3 is regarded as the best game ever made. Metal Gear Solid 3. So good. Metal Gear Solid 4 is my favorite game. I have the case. I have the game back when video game covers were actually like sick. This is a sick case. Bring back 6 cases, man. Bring back booklets. I think there was a proper booklet, but I might have lost it. But there is this at least. I think this came with an actual booklet, but I might have lost it. But you can even see like they're marketing some guide. What is this? Yeah, it's a guide. It's a book. Because the game was actually very deep in its systems, its mechanics. There was a lot you could do in Metal Gear Solid. I love the game, guys. It's such a great game. There's so much depth. Weapon customization. You had this sneaking suit that it was like a chameleon suit. So if you lean against any surface, you adapt. Your suit turns into the color of the object you're leaning against. So if you lean against the couch with a pattern, your suit takes on that color and that pattern. And if you lean against a checkered, like a floor with a checkered pattern, your suit takes on that pattern as well. So guards, when they're moving around, they might not see you at first glance. It's very cool. Like there was so much depth to the gameplay. You could like swap out scopes on your rifles and equip different grips and stocks and you can add grenade launchers to certain weapons. Like there's a lot, guys. Oh, what a great game. And the story was amazing. The story was absolutely amazing. The cutscenes are long and some people don't like that. that is a criticism of the game, depending on your perspective. I like Kojima storytelling, particularly in the Metal Gear Solid franchise. So I like the whole war theme. He was talking about the military-industrial complex and how war is the commodity and people just wage wars to make profit, and how people, you know, start off as heroes trying to save the world and taking matters into their own hands, but they quickly turn into villains when they get a lot of power, stuff like that. It was a very deep story, very deep. And Kojima is known for kind of like fortune telling, predicting the future. In Metal Gear Solid 2, he explored this concept of a shadow government, the Lale Lulero, or aka the Patriots, who run things behind the scenes, unelected bureaucrats, which is very, this is like 2000, early 2000s. It's very relevant in the modern, our current political landscape, the message of that game. And Metal Gear Solid 4 was just talking about war and the commodification of war, people starting wars to make money and all these sort of things, and private military organizations funding a lot of these things, and engaging, and governments using these PMOs, these private military organizations, as proxies to fight their wars on their behalf. And when you look at the way things are working now, how America and Russia are doing the same thing, and China, and it's crazy. I mean, these things have happened before, of course, but you know, he starts going into details about nanomachines and how we're going to be implanting people certain things to control people's emotions, emotion regulation. That'll be very beneficial in war because you want soldiers that don't feel, don't think. But even like robots, how they're going to be used in war, and this guy is deep, man. It's scary, but it's also very interesting. Death Stranding, wow, Death Stranding came out before the pandemic. It came out 2019, and then 2020 happened, and obviously it had been in development long before the pandemic, and the story had been written long before the pandemic. And you see, because Death Stranding was about people being locked in their homes and delivery men delivering things, well, the main character being a delivery man that delivers things. It's about isolation and people wanting to create bonds and all these sort of things. And it just hit different during the pandemic because it came out around that time. So people were playing Death Stranding while they were locked in their houses. It just hit different. Like, how does that happen? He did it with like Metal Gear, several of these Metal Gear titles. And then he did it again with Death Stranding. He keeps predicting stuff. With Death Stranding, I don't think any of it's on purpose. But it was just, yeah, with Death Stranding, it was just weird. Like, it was just even more of a coincidence because there's no way anyone could have ever predicted the way the pandemic happened. But anyway, and also it's like people were being kept indoors because of this invisible threat. Because in Death Stranding, the whole concept is that these ghosts that you can't see, but they interact with the physical world, and they can kill you or worse. And you stay indoors because if you go outside, it will catch you. It will get you. So everyone stays inside, and the delivery men are the ones that brave this dangerous road. And the parallels to the pandemic were just crazy, man. So Death Stranding was just a very interesting game. He wrote, for sure. But anyway, I hope they get the remake right, Metal Gear Solid 3. I hope they get that right. It'll be very interesting to see. But yeah, I've just been... playing Siphon Filter. It's pretty good too. I'm studying the game design. I think games back then, they didn't have a lot of hand holding. Like you had to figure things out by yourself, almost to a fault. Because sometimes it's like a little hint here or there could be very helpful. For example, there's an elevator I was trying to use, but it was like down, it was on the lower floors, and the drop was too steep for me to just jump in that shaft because I kept dying every time I went inside. Every time I went in the shaft, I'd fall, and then you just fall and die. So you have to call the elevator up, but it was dark, so I didn't know where the switch was, and I didn't even know if there was a switch. So I fumbled through the dark and eventually found it. It took a while. It took like 20 minutes. It took a while. I'm just like looking around trying to find it. So maybe if they can give you a flashlight or something, or a hint or something like that. You play as an agent, right? And there's this. You have a what do you call it? It's not like a handler, but someone who is in your ear giving you advice while you're on your mission. She could have told you like, hey, the switch is in that area. But then again, I'd been using elevators in the game up until that point, and every elevator had a switch. So I ended up like being like, there has to be a switch here because every other elevator had a switch. So that's how I ended up finding it. I just looked because I thought maybe I'm not supposed to use this particular elevator. Maybe that's for some other. Maybe that's for later. But I'm not supposed to be here right now. So I just left. But then I couldn't find any other way to progress to the level. So like it has to be this elevator, but I can't find the switch. I'm like, there has to be a switch. So then eventually I fumbled through the dark and found it. And I'm like, it shouldn't have been this difficult. I think if you can give us a flashlight or at least send us on a mission to find a flashlight, that would have been fine. But there are cons to this idea of like, we're not going to give you any help at all. There are cons to that. I think you have to have a balance of letting the player figure things out, but also helping them in certain areas as well, because it's meant to be balanced. You don't want to frustrate them too much, otherwise it stops being fun. So, but yeah, I'm learning a lot about game design just from playing these a game as old as Siphon Filter. But I feel like, you know what they say about limitations? Constraints breed creativity. When you have all these limitations put on you, you tend to be more creative. So you can really see that with these old games. They really creative about game design to make up for their technological limitations. Now, these days, we have all these technological capabilities, but the games aren't. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them aren't. So it's nice studying this particular game, seeing the cool ways we're trying to make the game fun. It's very interesting. So if I was ever to make a game, these would definitely be games that would play as a team, as a development team, and like we discuss like how can we incorporate this element, that element. So we can have modern games that still have great game design and hold up. 20 years from now, this is a great game. Like Metal Gear, man. Metal Gear is so ahead of its time. You want to have that effect where your game just stands out amongst the others and being like, this game was made 20 years ago. That's crazy. In many ways, it's better than modern games. In many ways, Metal Gear is better than some of these modern games, dude. In many ways. It's crazy. Despite the constraints that and all the technological limitations. Anyway, let me know what y'all think in the comments. I like to pray at the end of my videos. So, dear Father God, I thank you for this individual watching. So now, thank you for making holy me and guiding me upon towards peace, prosperity, and purpose. Thank you for blessing this person with wonderful people in my life who love them, take care of them, bring the absolute best out of them. And thank you for maintaining those who are there to do the same thing. Thank you for blessing this person with love and marriage, and sustain that love and marriage and making very, very happy. Thank you for blessing this person with the spirit of gratitude so they can give thanks for all the wonderful things in life.
By giving thanks, they will find peace, contentment, and attract even more blessings. Let your presence be felt in this person's life, so the knowledge of God, that you'll be able to show them, and you're always going to be there for them. Good health, long life, and happiness over this person, over the care about you, man, and I pray. In Jesus' name I pray, amen, amen, and amen.